Yo, it's just me. I know everyone's upset that Michael's not here. So I'm going to do this on my own. We're going to see how this is. I'm very scared. This is Trivia Flashback, episode 16. And, you know, I don't know how to do this introduction. I think this is my turn to pick the episode, and I really wanted to have someone on who has been a thorn in my ass for a bit. But no, honestly, I love this guy, and I would just say I would not. If I wasn't okay with it, I would not be wanting to talk about this match. But before we get into it, let's introduce our guest. He is the former Untitled Singles Champion, the current Untitled Movie Teams Champion, and the 2022 Movie Warzone Last One Standing winner. He is Mr. Canadian icon, Cameron Holzmann. Yo.
Howdy.
Hey, so, you know, this is, I will say, I am very scared.
As am I. If people looked in the group when you said this episode was happening tonight, there's only one comment, and it's me posting a GIF of the Saved by the Bell. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Yes. I mean, why are you scared? I'm the one who should be scared because I'm the one who went through this traumatizing moment in my life.
Here's the thing: I'm not scared of this match. I'm still scared of your reaction to this match. Yeah,
I will say we've all taken losses pretty bad. For the longest time, this was like this stung the most out of like all my losses. I feel I wish I could go back and take it back, especially how I acted at the end, which I'm really scared to relive. But it was yeah, it's a match that definitely soured me for a couple of days. But I would like to talk about it and kind of, you know, I feel like I've been carrying all this like ugliness inside me. I want to get it out. This is why it's going to be very therapeutic.
I feel like it's fitting that it's just the two of us here for this.
That's a good point. Like we can't have anyone. We can't have Michael in the middle between this. But I think before we get into the match, let's do my favorite thing about this show is the context, because your kind of start is a little different to how everyone else kind of started. You started off writing, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, I started writing for I started writing for what was at the time known as There Will Be Trivia Still.
Yes.
Or Worldwide Movie Trivia. I can't remember which it was at the time. I was writing for the group that like 3 weeks after I started writing for them became Full Metal Trivia.
Yeah.
Very shortly after I started writing, all that stuff happened. And I wrote for, that would have been late 2018, I think, was when all that happened. I want to say.
Sounds right.
And then, yeah, I wrote for a while, never appearing on anything. And then I played like 3 classics, and then somehow started running classic. And then through doing that, and then also appearing on like other shows in the community around that time, became friends with the group that at the time became known as Team 19, Caleb Boatman and Caleb Coho, a group so named because we ruined an episode of Rankum by forcing Leroy and Stitch to be the second greatest animated sequel of all time. I say ruined. I mean, we made the greatest episode of Rankum.
I was going to say, yeah, depends on who you ask. It's either the best or the worst.
And then, yeah, after that, got into multiplex, debuted near the end of 2019 against a guy named Jacob Pierce.
I honestly had forgotten his name, and I was going to ask if you had remembered, because I don't remember anything
or heard from again.
Didn't you win by knockout?
I got a knockout whilst spinning opponent's choice.
Yeah.
Because
I
for
remember
here's the thing, it's like if you look at that man's strengths and you know anything about me as a player, I should not have won because his strengths were movie release dates and the 1970s.
Yeah.
He spun movie release dates on his spin, and then I spun opponent's choice. And for some reason, he did not give me 70s and give me romantic comedies. And then I played Timber Kala in a match that I never want to watch or talk about again. It's a horrible match. Not even from a trivia standpoint, just like I have fully come to terms with it. I am an asshole in Mimi Timber Kala. I am the worst. And it's because I was 19, beat a grown-ass man in a trivia match by knockout, and got the biggest ego boost of my life because
I mean, as someone who has experienced ego boosts, I totally relate.
I'd like to think it has dropped since then. Then I lost in a triple threat to Andrew Barr and Adam Collins.
Yeah.
And then that was my last match before this tournament.
Yes. Well, getting into the tournament.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah. Well, it's interesting because both of us we were on the top quarter of the left side, and I guess you were the 8.
I was the 8, yeah.
Yes, and I just know that we both had kind of similar kind of runs in the tournament. You won both your matches by TKO. I won both by KO. We won them both by knockout.
I'm very proud of my match versus Jacoby.
I was going to say that match
should not have won.
A roller coaster.
Goal to save my life on him.
Yeah, he went 0 for 5. 0 for 5, and you stole, I think, 4 of them, but a lot of them were 2-point steals. That gave you like a really good lead, and then Jacoby just couldn't capitalize on round 3. But we both were making our ways through the tournament. I had just lost the belt to Caleb. You had just lost the triple threat.
Also, we had been a team in Full Metal at this point as well.
I did mention that in the Red Herrings 2-headed dog match, but that's kind of how our kind of relationship kind of started, was through 2-headed dog. I mean, I had my whole shit with Henry. You were like just starting to play, and we were like, let's team up. And I was a little skeptical at first,
and then we played a debut match, a #1 contender match, and broke up.
And then, in the span of like a month or something, because it happened all pretty quick.
It was. Well, we were set to be in that massive 32-team tournament that never happened.
Yeah.
And then
because we were just over it at that point.
And then I left Full Metal for a while.
But yeah, that which was fun. Which I mean, I really liked the Red Herrings 2-headed dog match. I think that Michael and I talked about it on the show. But we had our little team up there, and then we had played in the Warzone Teams tournament for first time in the semifinals. Then it's this tournament that happens. Did you have like sort of a plan going into the tournament? Like, did you have your certain strengths that you wanted to keep using, or did you just like, well, whatever happens, happens?
So yeah, there's a very interesting thing with this. Because if you watch my first round match against Doug, I believe the strengths that I used were like my 21st Century live action musicals, the mainstay strength forever, and then a strength that I had just prepared, put on a wheel once, and then never used again because of certain extenuating circumstances. Where my other strength I used against Doug was the category of Ansel Elgort movies. And people can guess why I, in the middle of the tournament, had to stop using that category.
It was very unfortunate timing.
It was, because I watched November Criminals and Jonathan and Men, Women, and Children all for nothing. But then and then I went with my bread and butter of 21st Century live action musicals and pure flicks against Jacoby. And then I want to bring this up because I remembered this happened, and so
I was going to bring this up as well
because you still had access to the Multiplex channel at the time. So the moment me v Jacoby is done filming, I get a text from Jake Maringoni. Buy or rent, God's Not Dead. I'ma be ready, bitch.
I really did not want to watch so many Pure Flix movies. I was like, I've just got to send any sort of mental warfare, just because I do not want to watch them.
It should be stated and known here. There are competitors in this league who I have played against who have seen Pureflix movies. I have not. And the category has never been spun, and that makes me very happy.
Yeah, the fact you've
Jacoby
scared so many
Bancroft
people.
has seen Unplanned, and it is my fault, and it was for no reason.
So I thought I need to stop you from using Pureflix, so that's why I was like, I'll send that and see. Did that have anything to do with not? Because you didn't pick it for our match.
No.
Do you know what
I
you
think
wanted
it
to go
kind of
with?
did. Like, it was known that you were like a decent studier. And so I wanted to do something more broad. And especially when you sent me that, I was like, okay, well, I know what I'm not doing. And then I came up with a strength that broke Movie Warzone temporarily and caused a change in the rules of what you can do for strengths.
To be fair, you weren't the only one. I definitely did something similar in
because you did your video game movies under
the video games
tomato.
Hollywood video game movies under 13% rating. Because see, you got to think about this. But yeah, I wish I never used that as a category. So I remember Caleb saying that he was very frustrated and he may have written some dick questions in that category. So maybe it was a good thing I didn't spin it. But my matching against Thomas was recorded first, and I think it was like the same day or maybe like the day after. But you and Jacoby had recorded, so I knew like okay, to really like I didn't really know what I wanted to do as far as coming up with strengths. I think my whole idea was not to pick something that you could study because I just knew you were going to study it. So that's why I picked Oscars and release dates. I just picked two broad categories.
You're not the first person to do something like that to me, and I'm sure you won't be the last because Boatman, when I played Boatman last year, he used Oscars and classic director filmography. Yeah.
With John Powell, or was it the John Powell composed one that you came up with? Was that?
Oh, right. Sorry, this was not the category that broke.
Oh, it wasn't.
Sorry, I did not use 21st century live action musicals against Jacoby. That's right. I used my other. That was when I used the strength that broke Warzone, which was when I used 21st century Randy Thom family films.
Oh, wait, who is that? Is that
uninitiated? Randy Thom is a sound editor and designer.
That's what it is. Yeah, I remember this.
And he did a lot of DreamWorks movies and like other family films. Most notably, it was a category that allowed me to get like How to Train Your Dragon and Narnia in the same category. And then none of those, well, they maybe would have come up had I spun it. I don't know. But after that match, a rule was set where for if you're using a person to pick a category, that person has to be an actor, a director, a writer, a producer, or a composer, I think are the 5 things that you can do.
I think that's it.
But then I came up with John Powell composed family films, which was a lot of the same movies.
Mm-hmm. And I put
we'll see how that
so much effort. I put a lot of effort into that. I knew that there was no way I was going to study the 20th century live action musicals. I think for that match, I only watched Chicago just because that was like a blind spot for me.
Oh, the worst movie in the
which is terrible. But I put a lot of effort into studying John Powell movies. Like I watched Mars Needs Moms, Ferdinand, The Lorax.
Because I also had not seen all of those movies before I picked the category.
Terrible. Bad.
And I didn't have to study for yours.
Yes.
Study for mine.
Which I mean is fair. But I remember like feeling really good about the match because I just knew like if I got John Powell, I would like do well in the category. So that's why I was a little upset.
I thought that you could. We'll get there.
But I think, if there's anything else before the match we need to say, or you want to just go straight into it?
No, I think it wasn't mentioned, but I think most people know this was the tournament immediately after you had lost the belts to Boatman. And I was a 19-year-old kid with a 2-1 record who everyone thought was going to go out in the second round to Jacoby.
I think, well, that's, in hindsight, it makes sense that you won that match, but I think a lot of people are like, well, Jacoby's just that good.
Oh, at the time, it makes a lot of sense. And to be fair, again, he should have. And then divine intervention in the category of Rocky, a category I did not study for Jacoby, but that I had studied for Tim Berkala in fandom
I was gonna say,
2 months before, and then forgot to log the movies because I was keeping them a secret.
Mm.
And then Jacoby picked Rocky, and I went, well, this worked out in unintended ways.
Yeah, well, I can't believe that still happened, but I think we've got everything out of the way. Let's set the match up. I've skipped the pre-match interviews because I think that not really much happens.
Oh yeah, right. I also forgot the match that this is the last Warzone match that you will basically. I think not basically. This is the last Warzone match that Adelaide Spence has ever, and I believe will ever host.
Yeah, I'm curious. Was that because? I mean, we don't have to get too much into it, but I mean, I don't want to say anything.
There were shots fired between hosts and competitors.
Yeah.
And certain Codys got mad.
And
well, Cody always gets mad at this sort of stuff.
With a record of 10 wins.
Also, I just felt like such the biggest superstar. I'm 10 and 3. I'm sorry, 10 and 4. Like I've got the most wins. I'm the number 1 seed. Like I've got to. To me, I had to prove that I can make it far in the tournament. That's why I really like. That's why this last year and the year before, it's like I just want to make it to the semis, like the top 4. That's a big deal because my luck in tournaments at this point was not the best.
It truly was like I had nothing to lose and everything to prove in this match, and you had everything to lose and nothing to prove in this match.
Yeah, it's one of those classic sort of matchups, but. I think what also annoyed me more is that I did so well in round 1, and it like meant nothing.
And I still remember. I believe the score on round 1 is 7-3, which is the worst I've ever scored. Actually, it's not the worst I've ever scored in a round 1, because the worst I've ever scored in a round 1 was in Concept v Clash for the title.
Oh yeah, that's
2, I believe.
Yeah, no, that was
I scored 2, and Coho scored 1, and that was.
Outbreak is correct.
I don't even remember what I guessed on Outbreak.
Oh shit! It just popped up, and I can't remember it.
And everyone knows you can't rewind a YouTube
video.
You just
absolutely not.
Party where everyone dresses up like what actor?
This is a great question. Here's the thing. I thought about writing this exact like a very similarly phrased question to this, looking for the same piece of information recently. So it's like it's a good plot-based question.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like if you've seen the movie, you should know it. But if not,
let's go to Jake.
Robert De Niro.
And Holton.
Robert De Niro.
Bobby.
Also, yeah, this is the era where I had my detached microphone, and I never knew how to properly level the sound on it. So just like, truly, whether or not you could hear me or I was blowing your eardrums to shreds was just yes.
Yeah, I had always recorded off my laptop before I got my new PC, and I just hated the audio because it just sounds so noisy. It's just thank God I upgraded to a mic. So much to think about the setup.
The good old days where my Baby Driver poster was on this wall instead.
I was gonna say yeah,
because I got a TV and it was blocking my Baby Driver poster.
Check out Blank Check Podcast. So don't know.
Also, random fun fact: just out of frame in front of the dresser on my right, there is a lamp that would have been sitting on my floor for probably 6 months at that point, because I got a new lamp for my bedside table in the corner over there. But I was too lazy to move the old lamp out of my room.
I don't know where Nick 2 is. 5, 4.
I'm just here to look pretty, I guess.
2, 1. Well, you've already failed at that. Let's go to Holton.
Wow.
You've been going to Huntsman for a while.
Okay, great.
Is that the start of it?
I think what's interesting is, like, if I remember correctly, Neighbors is like the only movie asked about in round 1 that I had seen. Like South Park Regular Uncut, I had never seen at that point. I didn't watch it until I played Meltzer and Ontel the first time. And then I still remember this question, and like, now the answer seems so obvious.
It's like right then. I would like to think that I had it in like for half a second in my brain, but I was just like, not gonna get it. Also,
it's not a Michael Campbell question, but it's close.
I think it's a Kirk at the time. He was a writer, but I think it was weird because like this was the third consecutive match that I was in where they asked a plot summary question about an 80s movie that I wasn't familiar with.
Both incorrect. It's
I also would love to say, I guess Terms of Endearment. I had literally just studied that for Jacoby because he picked 80s Best Picture winners and wrote it knowing without 100% that it was incorrect. I just wanted to have an answer on my board.
What U.S. state says from here to eternity takes...
So I mean, I love this question, and I will say I knew it because it was asked in a classic match that I was in like a couple years before this, and I missed it then, but I was knowing it now is like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, like now that I know what this movie is and is about, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
that's an actual quote from
again,
Darko, I'm pretty sure.
Like, I knew shockingly little
I'm doubting your
when I first started playing this game.
Let's go to
I mean, it's funny that you guess like the polar
opposite entire. Well, because I was like, if it's round one, it's got to be notable enough that it's reasonable to ask about.
Okay,
so ask makes sense.
Category of action adventure.
Because you'd know if the movie takes place in Alaska.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, I get this wrong because
found out very recently that Adelaide loves this movie.
Yeah,
I was very surprised by that by last week's Wallace.
I was standing next to you because it makes you look like a better host in comparison. 5.
You're welcome.
4, 3.
I mean, I can't think of anything.
I literally don't write anything.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, I'm pretty sure in my brain the only movie that was going through my head was U.S. Marshals, and I went, no, they're not going to ask that. And put the words U.S. Marshal in the question.
All the right moves centers around what sport?
I think I mentioned
this was asked in Boatman v. Redshaw.
That's what I think. I pointed that out in the match. When we recorded that, because it's like this was asked.
I didn't write the question then because why would I willingly write a sports question?
Because I'm pretty sure it was also asked in the Game of Factions match from last year. I'm almost positive it was asked in Michael and I's round 2, but yeah, I mean it's just like early Tom Cruise movie. You can just ask about it. But so that's round 1. I will just pause it for a second. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was gonna say you can pause it.
Yeah.
Like I remember at the end of round 1, knowing the score, I assumed it was already over. This was
I started to think that.
This was what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah. This is my downfall right here, is thinking that it's a 4-point lead. I feel really good. It's only after round 1, and I'm like, yeah, I've got this. I felt really good. And I'm just like, I just need like a decent category round 2, and I should be fine.
Also, fun fact, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, I have been in multiplex matches only. I have been to sudden death, and I think 5 different matches, if not more, and have only lost in sudden death 1 time, and it was in the Ultimate Warzone Championship to David Nishimoto. Like, it's ridiculous how many times I've been to sudden death and made it out alive.
Yeah, well, famously this match, then there's the Clash at Demon Head.
There's the Triple Threat Teams contender.
That one. That's a big one.
Sudden death against Nazario in round 1 of this year's tournament, which also went forever. Right. I went to sudden death against Tyler Butler in Fandom later in 2019. And then Nishimoto in Ultimate Warzone Championship, plus going to sudden death against you again in Full Metal Geek.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous how many times I've been in sudden death.
And I'm the exact opposite, where I think I've only won 1 match where I've gone to sudden death. Every other time we go to sudden death, I fucking lose. Yeah. And I was just like, this is the way you want to win, is this match, and then how it goes to sudden death. But I was gonna say, so yeah. Did you feel any sort of like, I've lost this match?
Absolutely.
So, categories we have in our wheel tonight are
Western,
again, 90s,
that's bad.
Movie release dates and film scores, and
Cameron, you're a little freezing.
Your rep
and John Powell family films. So, Jake,
if you can hear me, could you
You want to take it?
go
Cody?
out.
I can
And
hear
come back.
you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Deferring.
Hello?
So,
Hello, live,
Tim,
ladies and gentlemen.
your
I can hear you.
spin
Yeah, I think I'm back.
is
I don't
gonna
know.
land in the category of
Maybe just go out and come back in.
Film
I'll pause
score.
it just.
Okay.
Better spin again.
And I will just don't want any dead air, so I'll just keep speaking and just saying, "Hey, how everyone's doing? If anyone's watching this, oh, he's back. Yep, it looks much better. Just speak a little, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's much better. All right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you gave. I'm trying to
Film
look at
scores.
the video again. So you gave film scores and release dates, I think.
I think it was release dates. Yeah. Oh no, Oscars. It was filmed. It was film scores and Oscars. I want to say it's the two.
Yeah.
So I thought it was release dates, but I must have not.
Yeah. So I get a spinner's choice. I take John Powell Family Films, and
I really wanted that category.
this goes so badly for me.
So, your first question.
This is true.
In Ants, General Mandible launches an attack on what insect?
I
So-
hate this movie to this day.
To the queen.
I think this is the worst DreamWorks movie.
Oh,
I think the only John Powell family film that is worse than this is Mars Needs Moms.
Yes.
Okay. Multiple choice options are.
So
A,
I knew it immediately. I actually kind of like this movie.
Well, I also know
I
'cause,
have
like,
big nostalgia for it.
if I look back into my Letterboxd
He is
history around the time of
incorrect.
this match, like
Nice.
I know
Thank you for letting
that
me
this
read
match
multiple
that
choice.
like I
Last time I'll
did not rewatch Ants for this. I didn't
Wow.
because I
okay,
hate the
so
movie.
Which is
you are
fair.
correct.
I
Also,
haven't
this-
watched Ants in probably 2 years, and I don't regret that choice.
I mean, that's fair.
The terrorist organization run by Dr. Brink.
I have to thank Paul and Michael because we went over John Powell like the night before this match, and so this is one of the questions that they asked, and I had no idea. So when they had, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Okay.
Oh, what sucks about this is like I rewatched Cody Banks, and I stand by the fact that, like this movie is shockingly good.
That
It is fun.
Now.
yeah.
Like it held up surprisingly well. Destination London's still better, but the
Well,
first time
Anthony Anderson is in there.
banger.
Does the mayor have in Horton? Here's the Who.
Okay, so I actually thought you were correct on this question. I've always thought it was 99. I don't know
Yeah.
how. I didn't think it was not, but that's what I honestly have always thought.
Well, that was the thing
answer
is I
was.
thought it like I assumed it was 98 girls and one son,
100.
but
That is
It's 'cause it's
incorrect.
96, right?
It's 90, yeah, something like that.
96 or 98, something like that.
Because I'm like trying to count.
99?
That is also incorrect. He has 96 daughters and one son.
96 daughters and one son.
Yeah.
Right, because then with him and his wife, it's 99 people in total in their family.
What is the name?
Okay.
Which also his
Utilized
poor
fairy
wife.
dust In Pan.
And I watched Pan for this as well. So
I'll also
I
watch
was
Pan for this. Actually, you know what? Pan is also probably worse than Ants.
Yeah, Pan is
Karenina.
not good.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Do really well in this category.
But this is about it because I just knew I would have done well.
You're so upset you didn't get these questions, and I'm so upset that I'm sitting here shitting the bed.
Leslie Mann.
So I actually wouldn't. I would have needed multiple on that one. For some reason, I just didn't do any.
Like
Real
that.
study.
That is the question that saves my life in this.
Pretty much, yeah.
Round 2 spin. Gonna land on free respin.
And I would have taken that, and I would have done okay. in it.
90s. Would you like to?
So this is part of my downfall. I should have taken 90s. I was too worried that it was just going to be.
Romance, right?
I respin and get romance, which is
I don't
worse
like,
category
I don't like broad decades.
than 90s.
I don't.
And-
I'm worried that Kirk may have written this, and
You can tell I'm trying to think of like
entirety the 90s.
what's
I don't
better,
know.
the chance of getting a worse category or taking an okay category and seeing how well I could do. It was just like not.
I think at the end of the day, like
What
if you're
this
up
like-
1 point going into your
Yeah,
spin
I
and
think
I've
there's still
gone
girls
already,
in the
like
round,
mm,
regardless
you
what
are
get. I
very
still think you can get
okay to
through any
take
of
that
them.
risk.
So yeah, I would
Yeah.
say spin.
And that's
Okay, we'll spin a
I
wheel.
should have
Okay.
been a little more
Don't
vocal
give me
to
that
Cody,
bullshit,
but
Bowman.
I think 90s.
I will cut your
Oh, I think I would have done better.
Romance.
And then
Okay.
Which are now
Just
two
work for the
different.
Yeah.
rest of the person we have to.
which I stand by is still a weird decision. But
I will take your question, or I will give your questions in romance/rom-coms. Take your first question. In Crazy Rich,
I once I heard the first. I was like,
Asians
yeah, okay.
Professor.
I've
So
not seen Crazy
I-
Rich Asians yet.
I remember this question because I think you'll see. Because I go to my board and I know exactly
you're
what I
right.
write because I remember the
Multiple choice.
opening scene of the movie.
Is it
Or not the
A,
opening scene, but like the first scene we see her in
business statistics,
is
C,
she's
sports
teaching
analysis,
game
or
theory
D,
as a
accounting?
class. And so I wrote
Okay.
down game theory, but because you went to multiple choice and that wasn't one of the options, I had
Incorrect.
no idea what to do.
So A,
It was
economics,
like, I know my
business
answer is
statistics,
correct, but
C,
because
sports
it's not
analysis,
one
or
of the
D,
options,
accounting.
I can't say it.
Mm.
I guess C.
C is also incorrect. You're looking for
Like you can see me look at my board
Yeah.
and be like,
And how to lose a guy in 10 days.
so my brain's just like, which of
Andy's
those
hesitant
options
to
is
taking him to a Knicks game,
the
she's actually
thing?
taking him to see what musical artist.
And then this question as well. It was just movies that I.
Oh, this movie's
I hadn't
not
seen.
good.
Multiple choice.
I mean, I've seen the first
Is
like
it
20
A,
minutes
Celine
a
Dion?
long time ago.
I
but
watched
that's
all
that.
of this
C, Cher,
for
or D, Avril
Game of
Lavigne?
Factions 50-50 singles this year because Menchaca picked Matthew
Ooh.
McConaughey.
Okay.
These are also just such weird options because like Celine Dion, Barbara Streisand, and Cher
Avril
all
Lavigne.
make sense together, and then Avril
Incorrect.
Lavigne.
Yeah,
does
and
not-
I'm the one, and I guessed Avril
Celine
Lavigne
Dion, D, Barbara Streisand.
because I'm an
C,
idiot.
Cher,
I
or
should have
D,
thought
Avril
about it
Lavigne.
better. Like, why would a grown ass woman
Also incorrect. We're looking for
go to an
Celine
Avril Lavigne
Dion.
concert?
Damn it.
Fun fact. This was also the first
Jake, your
match
third
that I
question.
filmed in the chair that I'm
What
currently
job
sitting in.
does Swayze
'Cause
I had-
have?
I had almost the same chair, and then when COVID started, my dad stole my desk chair so that he could work from home. And I had like a low sitting, like lounging in the living room chair that I dragged into my bedroom. And then
Okay.
that was giving me such bad back problems that we
A,
finally went
was-
by Ikea and
B,
bought
real
another
estate
one of the
agent,
same chair I
C,
had
police
before.
officer,
Oh, wow.
D, banker.
So I just completely blank. I've seen Ghost, and I should have known he's a banker because there's a
I
whole
haven't.
plot with that.
Correct for 1 point.
I know this now. I also, for some
Montgomery
reason, now
Clift
know
and
offhand that
Elizabeth
his
Taylor
first and last name in that movie is
star
he
in
is
what
Sam Wheat.
1951
Sam
romance
Wheat.
film?
Yeah. And then I just didn't know this one. It's just
My
like it's a
favorite is
category
usually
where I
going
could
for
do
start writing
okay
something.
with.
Complete bullshit. I have no idea.
Yeah, I
Multiple choice.
it was just happens to
A,
be
the
just
comedian.
movies that I didn't
B,
know.
Penny
I
Serenade.
mean, it just happens.
C, Imitation of Life.
Because it's
Or D,
Imitation
A
of
Place in the
Life. I think I had
No, I
even
think this
heard
is a
of any
place
of
in the
them.
sun.
Let's see.
Oh,
Imitation of Life.
okay, so I guess Imitation of Life.
Incorrect. Holton for the 1 point steal. Your
Was it a
options
complete
are
guess?
I guessed a
Comedian,
place in the sun because it was
B,
the only one of
Penny
these four
Serenade,
movies I had
C,
ever heard
Imitation
of.
Life, or D, A Place in the Sun. D is correct for a 1 point
So
steal.
I'm starting to get a little nervous now because it's like
Your
I got
last
I,
question, Jake.
I can make it a 3-point
Who plays
lead,
Isaac's ex-wife Jill?
and I just
in
was scared
Manhattan?
just knowing that the 3s and the 4s.
No stream.
But it was lucky. It was
Correct.
one that I knew.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, is
And
at
I played round 3 so wrong. Looking
Yep.
back at this,
Okay,
which
11
we'll get
to 8
into.
going into round 3.
I, at the time, believed I played it wrong. I played it very correctly.
You
Learning
played it smart.
Knowing now what I did not know then,
From tonight are animated.
this went
for
correctly
80s
because the 4-point question and what would have been the 4 in this match ended up being the 4 in me v. Quaylar that I missed.
Mm,
And so I would have. We'll get into the effects of it later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a domino effect.
Yes.
And their 4-pointer got a little tongue-tied there. Jake picked his 1 in horror, his
It's like-
3 in animated, his 3 in Oscars, and his 4 in Jennifer Lawrence. Whereas Cameron has picked his 1 in 80s, his 2 in Jennifer Lawrence, his 3 in animated, and his 4 in recent releases.
So I'm gonna just pause it. So why did you pick new releases as your 4? Like, did you just feel like that's a
So
category that you're confident with enough to pick
So
a
yeah,
4 point?
29 through all of 2019 and some of 2020, recent releases was a category that I felt really strong in because in 2019 I made it my goal to watch 100 movies released in 2019 by the time the Oscars happened. I did not achieve that goal despite sinking to the lowest of lows and watching some of the worst films I've seen in my life in an effort to reach that goal. Notably, Drunk Parents and After are 2 movies that I saw in an attempt to reach that goal. But yeah, at the time I felt decent about it. And also, like, if you watch it, Coho is the one who Coho talks me into it because I want to go animated for 4 and I want to go recent releases for 3. But Coho says like you picked animated as your strength, so the animated 4 would probably be harder, and you hit your 4 in recent releases when you played when I played Barr and Collins. And so he was like, "Yeah, I think you can hit one," and I trusted him. So
that's the whole.
There is a domino effect from said decision. Yes.
Because, well, we'll get into it, but like
we'll get there.
Means that the 3-pointer in the releases is an option.
We'll get there because this is back in the old format of that. We'll get there when we get there.
I mean,
oh my goodness, Nazario's watching. I was gonna say I know we have a lot of people watching because YLS is also right now. But
yeah, I feel like I may have picked a bad time, but anyway, it's all good. Let's go forward. Yeah, so Cody and I were talking, and I think I should have listened to him because he said pick Oscars for the 4, and then you're guaranteed to get the 3-pointer because Michael and I just studied the hell out of Jennifer Lawrence for teams.
Because that was the thing is like with everyone watching this should know this match goes to sudden death. And the old sudden death format was that
yes,
you go through the 1s in the unused categories, the 2s, but whatever you picked as your like as your like strength for round 3 doesn't get asked in any of those runs. And I had picked animated, and you had picked Jennifer Lawrence. And Oscars had gotten randomized in for you, which was awful. Oscars and horror were both in there.
It was a good categories, a good list of categories.
It was a very good list for you, yeah.
Which
okay.
Said that not to.
We'll see how that comes to be.
Yeah.
For his 3 in anime.
With me hanging on for dear life.
What is the name of the brand?
And a part of me is like, I could have just picked animated for the 3 because I knew this, but I don't know my 3. It's like.
Correct for 3 points.
I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this thing is, at this point, I still assume I've lost, but I'm like, somehow I'm still here. So we'll see what happens.
Who voices Nigel the Pelican in Finding Nemo?
Jeffrey Rush.
Correct for 2 points.
At the time, I would not have known that.
Okay,
honestly, I was going to ask you because your action made it look like you had no idea.
No.
Wow.
Well, because to me,
it shows you how much
Nigel is like the 10th character you think of in Finding Nemo.
I mean, fair.
How many
I think a 2 in Finding Nemo for voice actors would have been who voices Gil. But
and then this question, it's always the how many in this decade or how many does this actor, and I was like, the thing that sucks. One of the things that sucks the most about this match is that I was between 2 and 3.
Yeah,
I was between the right answer and the next number to it. And I picked the wrong number. It was a 50-50 shot, and I just thought that there's no way he's only been nominated for 2.
Yep.
I heard this, you look at me, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know. What could it be?
Because I think I do say 3.
Because 2020 season Cameron Holzmann has seen maybe 2 Cary Grant movies and knows next to nothing about the Oscar.
Damn it! Oh my god, I had 2.
Yeah, so you can see I definitely
shock on my face. I'm like, we have a game. We have a game.
Yeah, because that 3-point miss now just makes me worried about the 4-pointer.
Because now it's who hits their 4 is the question.
Pretty much.
And
okay, so Holtzmann.
I just want to say I was shocked that I actually knew this. I completely sincere. I was
still have never seen this movie.
Tech-driven team led by Rita.
So I had seen the movie. I took my dad to go see it, but I remember I don't know. I just looked at the Wikipedia article just one time and noticed that that the team's called Ammo. So when I heard the question, I was like, I actually think I know this, but I don't know where I got this.
Well, one of the big things is I had watched the original Bad Boys for a match in Full Metal.
In Bad Boys for Life.
And I hate that movie. I hate the movie Bad Boys. I think it sucks.
I like
never
the
saw
second one a
Bad
lot.
Boys 2 and
It's
never
much
saw
better.
Bad Boys for Life. So the moment I hear that that is the movie being asked about,
That is
like, what would
Ammo?
sound cool?
It is ammo.
Thank
Oh
you.
my God.
I
Yeah,
had
it's-
no clue.
Okay.
And I'm angry because it's like
Jake.
for some reason my brain was like, well, I know my opponent's 4-pointer. That probably means I'm not gonna know mine. Like it's just gonna be this.
Because there's an interesting
hey,
thing, which I believe was
Caleb
pointed out to me at one point by Caleb Coho.
If you miss,
I'm pretty sure the
then
only
you
match
do go
in
to
which
sudden
you
death.
or Michael ever hit a 4 in
4
Jennifer
pointer.
Lawrence was
Jennifer.
unfortunately Clash v Concept 2.
It was the match where we needed to hit the 4.
Yeah, I was like, why of all the
Yeah.
matches did it have to be this?
We
one?
we actually did hit the 4-pointer against Light It Up in the finals that we picked Jennifer
Oh, that's
Lawrence
right.
in. But those are the only 2 times, and
But it
we
was
would
like-
just spam it in the
like,
tournament.
'cause you
this
guys-
tournament.
Because like it became very well known. You went, this is the smallest round 3 category.
Yeah, that's exactly
Watch
it.
all the movies and be ready for it. And then for the entire season, we kept watching it not work out for you guys. And so
Well, to be fair,
Coho
there were
was
certain
like-
matches where we didn't need to hit
yeah,
the button.
and so Coho
Like your
was like,
match, yeah.
like, yeah, Jake put Jennifer, like, for this match, I remember him going, Jake put Jennifer Lawrence. What an idiot. Like, he's like, look at what they've done.
I mean, it paid off in that
It
match.
paid off eventually.
It did. Well, the category did what it needed to do, and then after the rematch, we were like, we need to
The
pick a new
category
and we
functioned
picked
in
Collins.
teams like you needed it to.
It worked when we needed it. to,
Yeah.
But so I'm like, I've watched so many Jennifer Lawrence
What's the
films.
name
I
of
should
the
know
toy
this.
company that Walter
And I
was
definitely
the
remember
CEO of in the Beaver?
noting this detail down when I watched the Beaver, and also I'm blanking so hard on it right now.
Because don't you end up guessing just like Beaver Co?
I say Beaver Co, and I knew it was something like that, and it turns out it was, I think, Jericho. Is
Which,
I
like,
think what
if
it
the
is.
answer was Beaver Co, that's a Michael Campbell question right there.
Yeah, which I mean, that's just me having no clue what to guess.
3,
Yeah.
2.
I'm not gonna wait.
And I make a screw up here. I say I'm not going to waste any repeats, but I think Caleb thought I said,
What is the name of
let
the
me use
toy
another
company?
repeat,
Walter
and so he
is
gave me
the
another repeat, and I didn't
CEO
say
in the
anything.
Beaver.
So I just knew I was just wasting time, and I just wanted to make sure I had
Yeah.
repeats.
Oh, that
So
was the thing with me as well, is I was like, on my final question, I was like, I might as well save any repeats I have left
Beaver
for
Co.
sudden death.
That is incorrect. Looking for Jericho.
And so then we get into probably the
We're
craziest
going to
sudden death in
Okay, so
in
we're
movie
going
Warzone.
It is
Sudden
the
death.
longest
Both
sudden
missed.
death has ever
Yeah.
gone in movie Warzone.
Both missed.
Yes.
I think we go
One
16
hits,
questions.
one misses, then
Yeah,
one.
something like that. Because we go to the
All
3
whiteboard
pointers.
rounds. So,
Yeah.
gentlemen, your 1 pointer. Category of sports. What sport does Cinderella Man center around?
And
Well,
yeah, I will
that's the
say,
thing, I'm sitting here being me
Real Cinderella
Mm.
story.
in a round 3 where the sudden death is based on the round 3
format, yeah.
categories, and sports, horror, and Oscars are all
3,
actively on the
2,
field
1, and
at
time's down
almost
for
every
Jake.
point value.
Boxing.
yeah, and I mean, you at least you'd feel good that knowing that like you could get the 1 pointers, right? Like,
Yeah, the
Mystery
ones
Thriller.
I was fine with
Who made
because
his
like
directorial
they're
debut
ones I
with the
should be
2007
okay.
mystery film Gone Baby Gone.
And also, and I was going to mention this later, but I might as well mention it now. But this was like the week of Warzone recording the quarterfinal matches, and 3 of the 4 went to sudden death. Because this match, it's the Brian Menchaca match.
Because it should be noted,
Matt.
we still have the record for
One.
longest
Let's go to
questions of
Holzmann.
sudden death, which we took from
And
Brian and
Jack.
Menchaca.
Yeah,
Had this match released first, because this match released a day after Brian v. Menchaca, had this match released first
All right,
for
and
a
the
single
category
day,
is-
I would have held the
Copyright
Warzone
in
singles points record.
1917.
yeah. Just it's all about timing. Because I mean, to be fair, they recorded that match before,
Alive
Yeah.
this
is the
one.
wrong word.
'Cause I think the Michael Barr match was also recorded
I-
first. I just remember this one being one of the later quarterfinal matches, and seeing Michael and Mark make it to the finals, and being the last first order player in the tournament,
And
and just like, I gotta win this. I gotta be. I'm as good as Michael and Mark.
Category of
Yeah.
Oscars.
I just got
Name one of the
way
3
too much
films
into my
which
head.
Daniel Day-Lewis
about
won
it.
an Oscar.
I just appreciate one
I
is
realized
spelled
the
incorrectly.
document-
I really wish that they said name 2 of the 3.
Well, I
Because
at the
Wars
time
and
I assume you
Wars
know
and
like, at
Nemo.
least two,
yeah.
right?
Oh, I could have done
Yes,
all three at the
Nemo.
time. Like,
Hmm.
Day-Lewis is one of the few Oscars things that like I would have confidently
Three.
won at the time.
2,
Yeah. No.
1. Let's go to Jake.
My left foot.
I'll just
And
say his
both-
first one.
There will be blood.
Both correct.
I
Yeah,
also
so-
appreciate how neither of us chose the easiest and shortest answer
Okay,
to write.
now we start with the
I was just like, I gotta be different and just say the first one, the one that
Ted
least
that's
people
fair.
know.
History of the 80s. Ted
So this is the first
played
miss.
Judge Elihu Smalls in what film?
So I saw Caddyshack for Full Metal. I think the year
I hate
before.
Caddyshack as well.
I think it's a
Bad
fine movie. I think it's fine. Had no clue it was Caddyshack. Like I'd seen the
here's thing,
movie, I
like,
just don't remember. Like,
I at the time I am also very bad at movie release dates. Hence my guess, which you comment on, and I still
Yeah.
remember. Which, to be fair, like if I don't know movie release dates, which I don't at the time, this is a reasonable guess
And Jake.
because the word "judge"
Yeah.
is in the question.
Judge,
Ted Danson was
right.
Caddyshack.
You had a better guess than I
The word
did.
I could.
Your 2 point your question in sports. You will find the Rockford Peaches in what sports film?
I was like, maybe this one will be the one, but no. It's
'Cause
because
A League of
I
Their
was
Own
just also
is one of-
thinking,
Because A League of Their Own is one of the only sports films I like.
yeah, it's a really good movie. I was gonna say because I was just like really hoping that you would play the same way in round one in this, but because of the format, because the first few questions are easier and then it gets like harder, I just knew that there was no way I
League of Their Own.
had
And
the same chance in round one because I was just like just
Yeah.
one miss.
Oh,
That's all I
like
need.
every indication of what we saw in this match
right, horror.
leads to the logical
Sydney
conclusion that
Sweeney.
you will win
Jill
this.
in
Yeah.
season 4.
And then, like, I get lucky that the horror question is Scream 4.
I was gonna
Scream
say,
is
yeah.
the only mainstream, mainstay horror franchise I'm a big fan of, and Scream 4 is now the third best Scream movie. Because 2022's Scream is now number
Yeah.
2.
2,
That's a good one, yeah.
1,
But the original still.
Emma Roberts.
and Holden.
Emma Roberts.
Yeah, I knew once
That's
that
correct.
popped, I was like, okay. But now it's 2020. Like it's crazy.
also-
like as
yeah.
far as we were going into sudden death, and it was like 14,
Gene
and now it's
Hackman
20.
Stars as
Yeah.
surveillance expert Harry in what 1974 thriller?
You guessed this, right?
Because
I
I know,
was like, if there's a question that Cameron's gonna miss,
because
it's
I
gonna be this
remember
one.
I started because I heard the words Gene Hackman, and without thinking, just started writing The French Connection.
Mm.
And then I remembered that the conversation is a movie that exists.
And Jake.
Conversation.
So you can see, I was upset that you got
Well,
it.
the thing is,
It's like,
I was
that
not
it, that was
confident that I was correct, but I was like, "This, I
Okay,
know what
recent
it's about,"
releases.
and I
Hmm.
think Gene
Who
Hackman
plays
might be
Thief?
in it.
Ming
I've now
Fei
seen the
in
conversation; it's
Jumanji: The
good.
Next Level.
I love it.
Great.
And then I'm actually very happy about this one because I hadn't seen the movie. I just looked at the
I also
Wikipedia
had not seen it at this point.
and just noting that Aquafina was in it. So I felt actually
That was the
really
thing
good
is, I
that
knew there were
that
3
was
new
good to get
cast
this.
members in the film, and I knew it wasn't going to be DeVito or
Yeah.
Clover.
2, 1, Jake.
Aquafina.
And Holden.
Aquafina.
Yeah, and you can see as we go into Sun Death, I become more and
Oh,
more
you're
desperate.
like, it's very clear that you are getting just annoyed that you cannot shake me. Like-
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I've met Aquafina. She's very nice.
I thought like this one, like just based on the release date, that there's a chance.
Well,
get
I
this
think
one.
because I think the thing that like, especially looking at this now, that you can notice is like you're writing your answers. You are also constantly checking the screen to see if I am writing something down.
And
Yeah.
Right.
So every time that you reveal it, I'm just like, God damn it.
Like this thing is, you're so frustrated. I'm like, why? How is this still happening? Like,
Yeah, like we're still in it. It's been what, like
Okay.
it is the
11,
I should
12
be-
questions already.
Category of 80s. In what 1980?
And this is when we start missing like all the questions.
Yeah.
Student at Mission College.
Which I was so close on this question too,
Because you got what you said.
because I say school ties.
You school ties, and I say Mo Better Blues. So I say I
You
say the
Spike
wrong
Lee
spot,
movie, and I say because the thing is, I knew of the movie,
5, 4,
and then just
2,
could not
1,
get the name
Jake.
correct, which is a thing that will
Yeah.
happen to me a lot where I know the thing and I do it
And
wrong. If you watch The Delve in Full Metal, they ask
Uh,
who plays the new
Holzmann has
reporter at
one
Broadcast
lead,
News, and like an
Jake
idiot, I
has the
say
right
William
director
Holden
for
instead of
4
William Hurt.
days.
Ah.
Like it will happen.
Your
I
category is
forget
sport.
names very badly a lot,
Who
which is
plays
what
Vincent
Coho is
Fred
very
Julian?
helpful for me
The
with.
Color of Money.
Is I
Yeah.
can just list key phrases about a person, and he can tell me who it is.
This is also a situation where I haven't seen The Color of Money, and this is the only Schmodown thing I do in this match. But I thought this was a question that was asked in a previous.
I was gonna
match.
say because I remember
2,
like after this
1,
aired, I
comes down
fact
to
checked
2,
the
Jake.
match, and I was like, he
Not
was
probably
even
because
wrong.
Chico decided last
No,
year.
the question being
Yeah, I would say that was the wrong character.
Chris Sarandon?
But I was like, I had to write it
Both
like just to
incorrect
be
with
like, oh, it was in
John
this,
Ventura.
it was in this match, and I don't remember.
Yeah, and I guess Chris
I was
Sarandon,
thinking
which
of-
like
I felt in my
I don't think it's a terrible guess considering that I know
No.
nothing about The Color of Money at the time.
Okay. Your 3-pointer in the category of horror. In Halloween 5, the Revenge
This is
of Michael Myers.
this is the second question where I was like, this is I could win it right here.
Is what
I could get this. I just need
I sat there and I was like,
And this is pre.
I was like, it's too easy for
horror icons.
sister. It's too easy for mother. What
What
do I
else?
do here?
Female relationships are there?
Exactly.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So I definitely like tried to get you to change it all, like
Niece?
because I
And
was.
Holtzman.
I was like, that could
I'm
have been.
so frustrated. I'm like, how am I doing?
Jake's trying to shake me on these horror.
Yeah.
Not letting it happen.
In your
Like, because the problem
category
is like,
of
it's not that we're
mystery
both
thriller.
getting them wrong and it's still going. It's that we just
Bridges
keep.
and Tim
It's like
Robbins,
there's
starring what
questions you know that I
1999
keep
thriller?
stumbling into the correct.
Yeah.
answer.
And then this one, I don't even think I still.
I
know what
still
this
know
movie
nothing
is.
about this movie. Except that
I mean,
Jeff
I like
Bridges
Jeff Bridges and
Robbins
Tim
star in
Robbins.
it. It's a thriller.
And it was released in '99. The
Like,
Blair Witch Project.
4, 3, 2.
Yeah,
like
I think I
again,
just
I
said,
went
like,
off. I know
Holtzman.
Tim Robbins was somehow involved in Dead Man Walking.
And Jake.
The Garden of Evil?
Both
I actually get
incorrect
that
for
title.
Arlington Road.
Arlington Road. I've heard that title, but I.
We're having fun now.
Like I have no
Recent
idea.
releases.
But yeah, and then recent releases.
What is
And then
the
this
name
is-
of the energy?
So I just want
Attempts
to break
to capture.
my point
Here,
of view.
here,
I
we'll
hear the
pause it a
question.
second.
Okay, yeah, we gotta pause it because there's a lot that I'm like.
There's
we
so
can go
much
through.
going on with this. So yeah, the domino effect we mentioned earlier is that because I took recent releases at 4 instead of 3, this question was still in the game. Had I gone with what I wanted and not Coho, this question would not have been here.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is very true. And I hear the question. I've not seen Doctor Sleep. I just don't know the answer. I see you writing, and I just like, okay, you know the answer. I don't know the answer. I need all of my brain power to try and come up with a guess. That could be it. Because I definitely remember watching the trailer and noting that the whole thing, because you see the steam and then like absorbing it. I should have probably been more direct, and when thinking of the answer and being like, well, I remember seeing smoke, so maybe it's something like steam. But I had no clue, and I don't think I was ever going to get it, even if I had 20 repeats.
Because I don't remember who, but someone had brought up afterwards, like, because when I played Doug in round 1 of the tournament, he used 2010's Stephen King.
I mentioned it in the post match,
Which, for the record, I did not rewatch Doctor Sleep for that match because it's the only movie in that category that I really like and really knew. And so this is an answer that I would have known regardless of that. Like it's we've each scored 10 points in.
It was 10 points because it was 14
at this point.
Oh no! Well, at this point,
Because
yeah,
actually, no, because I know exactly why I know this. Because back when the MTFO was a thing,
I remember that.
When a certain Adelaide Spence was a writer there, they were testing a round 1 or a round 2 on me, and this question, like this exact question, was in it.
Oh,
It
this
was
one,
weird.
though. Okay.
And so, like not like verbatim, but like it was about Dr. Sleep, and the answer was steam.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I know this. Oh my goodness, I'm hitting a 3 in Dr. Sleep. Like, what the hell is going on?
And yeah, as I start to panic, and I think there's a point where the 7 stages of grief. It was like denial and like
Anger.
after I use my last repeat, it's like I get through the whole cycle, and then acceptance when I like, yep, I'm putting my marker down. I know I've
well, because you can see, like, if you watch my face, if we play the video,
I'll play it now.
Like,
are you watching me now and knowing that like this is it?
I'm sitting there and I'm like, I've got it, and it looks like you don't. And I'm like, okay.
Repeat.
I think once you realize, once you
use the repeat, I'm like, oh god, I might have this.
Yeah. Oh god. I'm just gonna guess something completely random. I've admitted defeat, and I will say, I think this is the loudest annual winner that Caleb has done.
Yeah, and I punched my desk really hard and was legitimately icing my hand later that day.
Steam.
You can see me punch my.
You actually do punch it.
Yeah, I punched my desk, and at the time, like, I was so excited that I didn't feel anything, and then like a short while after the match stopped recording, I was like, I really hurt my hand, and like had to ice my.
Wow,
it was rough.
Yeah. So.
Oh
man,
Cody. How are you feeling out there? That was a close game. Sudden death, I think, is a situation that no player or manager wants to be in.
Well, Spence, enjoy your time on hosting. You're never allowed to host another Warzone match. I promise that. You'll be blocked from this community because twice now my players have been in sudden death when you're on the call. So enjoy it. It was fun while it lasted. Don't ever show up again. I mean, the entire call was against us the entire time. I mean, if we're being honest, Bowman didn't want you to win. Spence didn't want you to win. Cameron didn't want you to win. Cole didn't want you to win.
Well, I mean, I imagine you and Goho probably didn't want me to win the match. I get that.
It is what it is.
Racial relations.
Okay, so I do want to just.
No, it wasn't.
I just want to point out this. So
no, it wasn't. But I mean.
Yeah, this is where the match gets really uncomfortable.
We're not gonna. Shut up, Bowman.
So I will say I said it wrong. I should. What I meant to say was that I'll just pause it. What I meant to say was it's a category that you are good in, or it's a category that you've used before. I didn't mean like an literal strength for the match, but you have used it as a strength in other matches. I think you're mute, by the way.
No, I'm not.
Oh no, sorry.
I'm just not saying anything.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, that's what I was trying to say in the sense of like it was a good category, but then they mentioned that also I had Oscars in round 3, so it kind of makes things even.
Like, you had Oscars, and then also like truly
horror, which I'm like decent
like
in.
even
like,
to this day. If you look at like what I'm weak at,
Just sit
like
there and be quiet.
horror,
Host
sports,
and
Oscars,
talk.
all things I'm not a huge fan of. And then like
overall,
80s,
they won.
sure,
Also, no question.
thriller,
Also,
mystery thriller, okay, like
Yeah.
No Jennifer Lawrence question. And that's what it is.
But
I'm happy
like,
with how we played. And so
it
that's
was
what it goes.
this
One
was a
question.
test of
Great.
endurance for the two of us. It was like
Bowman to never host another Jake match because every time you
like
join,
I learned
it's
just
literally
like
a dick measuring contest
I
the entire time between the two of you.
had to
Who
hold
knows more
on
what can
with
say
every
what. So,
fiber of my being.
fine match. It is what it is. Both of the players went to sudden death. Cam wins. Cam snuck by another round, so I'm happy with Cam. Maybe he'll sneak all the way to the title match and Bowman will KO him. So, fine by me.
Just.
Which, fun fact, listening to Coho is what won me this match. Listening to Coho is also what lost me my match against Quail.
I really wish that we sucked with 90s now. Like 90s
Had I
much better than
fought harder, I would have beaten Quailar and I would have been 6-1 playing Michael Campbell in the
Kerry
finals.
Grant won.
Yeah.
I had 2 in my head.
And then Quailar would have played Mark Menchaca.
That's what changed the game.
Yeah.
Favorite question.
Oh, and that would have been that's another domino effect of
Yep.
everything changes and all that.
Yeah.
Just one thing. It's one thing that could have changed, and the match is a different outcome. But
I knew he was
it's
going to know that.
Oh, well, because like that's the thing is because
Gone around to it yet, so
Menchaca v. Michaels won Match of the Year this year, deservedly. And I remember at the time that like they were talking about doing the nominations, I was like, "What about me v. Jake?" And as time has gone on, I'm like, "This match should not ever be in a conversation for Match of the Year because outside of the sudden death for this match is insane. Like I think this is a bad match for the most part.
You'll focus on that.
Well,
and
it's.
hopefully one of the other kings.
I was shocked that it didn't get nominated. As much as I didn't like losing.
Yeah.
It feels like it makes sense to get nominated. Like it's a tight match. There's a crazy swing. It's an upset. And sudden death. The longest sudden death.
For people I actually
but.
Hey,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it still should have got nominated.
That's fair. I've stated before.
I just gotta say, Jake,
I think this is in terms of like how well I did in the match.
Those are rough spin.
This is
we got the exact
easily one of the worst matches I've played.
Looking at the 15
well,
million
I gotta ask: is this one of your favorite matches?
How many?
Do you ever go back and watch this?
Yes. Here's the thing. I will go back and watch Sudden Death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you got Dr.
Because I stand by I think the first 3 rounds of this match I play bad. Like I do not do well.
I don't do just as well. I only have round 1 really for me in the first
Sudden
3.
Death is the thing that is like, oh, I actually deserve to be here.
Yeah, and this is like you had wins against like Jacoby, but not to give myself an ego boost, but beating
you are
me was
still
like
you are still the most impressive win on my resume.
I think
it was also a big win that made people realize that you're more than just
one of my worst performances in a match.
It doesn't really matter. It matters, of course.
But it is one of my biggest wins in terms of who I beat, if not my biggest win. Because
and it was a tournament match. She made it to the semis.
Yeah, because
this one.
What's crazy is I was 5-1 then. I think I'm 7-4 now, or 7-5.
Yeah, something like that.
Like it's been a rough ride.
Streak
but
I mean,
to be
you've had
fair,
a bit of bad luck.
A fun fact about like this happens in both Warzone and in both teams and singles. Like everyone I lose to either has held or like nearly won, has held a title in some way. Because like,
I guess Matt, because he won the teams.
Because or except like the only exception is Collins, who went to Schmodown. Because my losses in singles are to Quaylar twice, Collins, Boatman, and Meltzer. I played Meltzer and Boatman in consecutive matches this year, which was a rough draw for me.
I also had to play Meltzer in consecutive matches, and that also wasn't great for me.
But you won one of those.
I won one of them. I won the one that I really wanted to win, which is great. Which was a good feeling. And also because, I mean, talking about the poeticness, but that was also a quarterfinals match that I really needed to.
Oh, because I remember
to get that win. Because
if I were to go through my messages again, because you knew Meavy Meltzer was filming, and you went beat him. You were beat him. I want my rematch. And the moment I lost to Meltzer, I remember I messaged you, and I was "You're playing Meltzer, kick his ass."
And I did. I did it for you. But with how much did you want to just win this match more because you wanted to beat me, or was it more? I'm just out of curiosity because I think it's been long enough where we can talk about how certain things played out. I mean, because did you just want to really beat me in the match?
I think I mean, yeah, but it wasn't because it was you. I didn't have anything against you. I didn't have any problems with you.
We played in teams.
Yeah, we were a team. It was fun. It was good. It was just a matter of I was up and coming, and I had everything to prove, and I was I want to beat Jake because I think I can do it. And if I do it, that's it. That's the win I need to prove,
you
belong here. Because at the end of the day, Jacob Pierce never played again. Timber Kala, he's mostly known for fandom. He's good in Warzone, but would never has never been top tier title level contender in Warzone. Then I lost to Barr and Collins. I beat Doug, who again, love the guy, but never a top tier contender. And then Jacoby was my first good win.
Yeah.
But I had never shown at any point that I could like really hang with like the top tier people in the game. And so I was like, this was my one chance that I had to prove myself. And somehow it worked.
Yeah, it did. And yeah, I definitely had a sour taste of Cameron Holzmann after this match because I took this match like pretty badly.
Well, because I still remember in the post match of Clash v Concept 2, you even talk about it.
Yeah, it was a hard match because I put a lot of work into it. Especially when you got John Powell, I was just like, that was a category that I know I could have done really well in. And so just like when you put so much effort into a match and it just doesn't pay off, you just feel like shit that of like all the work you can put in it didn't pay off. But it gave me a good time to just have a break from playing. And I think like a few weeks after this match, we were setting up for the Stallions teams match, which thank God we won that because that definitely boosted my mentality. And then we had a rematch in teams, which also that felt like that was also a match which I would love to have you and Koho on for that. I think there's some great Clash of Demon Head matches that we will have to like because there's at least 3 from the top of my head that I think there's a lot to really dissect.
Oh, Clash v Strange Brew is still an insane match that I love.
That's a crazy match
because the setup of that match versus how the match goes,
and then playing second reel after that, like
yeah. Well, no, because this thing is in teams. Clash has 5 losses currently, and it's to you guys twice, to second reel twice, and to Ginyu. Yeah. All teams that have held the title. So as much as our record is, I think we're 8-5 right now, which is like a good but not amazing record. When you see who the 5 are,
it makes you guys look.
I mean, it brings things into perspective a little bit more.
I mean, I will say, and I will probably go more into it when we do that match, but that was probably the most nervous title match I've ever played. I was so fucking scared because I was like, I cannot lose to Cameron Holzmann twice in Warzone, especially in a title match. Like this is my league. But
like Koho and I also played that match like dicks.
Yeah, I mean,
we picked the stupidest deep cuts.
Oh yeah, which we'll get into that when we talk about the match. But unless there's any sort of thing we want to wrap up, I still think it's an underrated match. It doesn't get talked about a lot because of this guy's ego, but it also because of me and because I complained to Cody about sudden death. The format had changed after this match, so I have a little bit of like I did that. I'm part of the reason why Warzone can be called better because I said let's get this fucking format out and change it with a standard sudden death. So I feel like I morally win in that aspect, but I'll be honest, I hadn't seen this match in like over a year and a half. Like I think I watched this the day or two before the rematch in teams. So it was good to kind of go back and just like, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, and sometimes they go to sudden death and you don't know what Steam is. So
yeah,
I think it was fun. But yeah, that is this episode of Trivia Flashback. We're going to have another one tomorrow because we had some scheduling conflicts. Knights of Ren is joining. We're also going to have Cody on for that one. I believe he still said yes. We are going to be reacting to one of my favorite fandom matches, Knights of Ren versus the Two Towers, formerly Bright as a Brohan. It's one of my favorite fandom matches. I can't wait to talk about Ruben Colin and his strategy in fandom matches. And then next week, I believe I asked him, and I will have to message him just to confirm this, but we're going to have Caleb Boatman on. We're going to finally not talk about a match that he lost. We're going to talk about a match that he won by knockout. I think we're going to go and we're going to talk about his match against Dustin Mason in the 2019.
Oh, come on, man. Nobody wants to see that.
I think we all want to see some asshole get knocked the fuck out.
No, I'm quoting,
and
I'm quoting Dustin from the match.
yeah. And then I think I haven't messaged them, but I'm going to just put it out in the open. Joseph and Brian, I think we got to talk about Stallions match with the concept in it. Well, we've got 3 options. I think we're gonna go with the best one.
Triple
which is
feature, all 3, one video.
All 3. Oh god, that'd be fun. That'd be good to do. But we'll probably just talk about the third one, which is probably the best match. But yes, thank you so much to Cameron for being on. I hope you had a fun time. We'll be happy to have you back when we talk about a match that you lose this time, so we can balance, with this match. Because
I've never lost a trivia match.
Never lost a trivia match. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Go undefeated, 12-0 every league.
It's just 11 wins against me, and then like the last loss is a win against
every question I didn't miss in sudden death is
sorry.
another win.
Yeah, that's it. But thank you so much for coming on. This is Trivia Flashback. I still don't know how